Hi there, everybody. My name is Kate, and welcome to my platform, Trinergy Awakens Naturally. I put out, this is kind of a companion follow-on video having to do with an experience I had at Pikes Peak today in Colorado. It was otherworldly and weird, man. I'm pretty far out there in what I'm willing to believe and experience, and this, blew the top off of my head even. I went, okay, mind blown. Frontal lobe is just completely gone. It's been overtaken by the third eye. So when I started out on my journey yesterday, I decided I would go and find a national park that I had not been to. I moved to Colorado about a year ago or so, a little less than a year ago, and I've tried to, I have gone to several different places, kind of hiked around and just feel the energy. And, mostly I've kept pretty close to Colorado Springs. And so yesterday I decided to go to fluorescent fossil beds, and that was quite amazing. It was otherworldly. I mean, I don't know how to explain this other than if you haven't had that experience, don't knock it till you try it. I mean, really, seriously, that was amazing and profound, but I don't even want to, talk about that because I really need to get this shout out to the appropriate people and to get this energy, more resolved inside of me, and that's going to happen by expressing this story to you. So I had my experience yesterday. It was very great and amazing. I mean, engagement with nature in a way that just feeds my soul, and ancestors talk to me. I hear stuff, and people have been calling me crazy for a long time, and so I'm over it. If it's not your thing, you're gonna want to hook left because calling me crazy and stuff. Okay, whatever. It is crazy sounding, and it's just so comforting to have that feeling of, oh yeah, I got backup. They're not in skin, and I can't explain that. But I'm good. I got it. Divinity and me, we're clear. We're crystal clear. So anyhow, I came home from that experience yesterday and was told, yeah, we're gonna, why don't you just look at getting up and real, butt crack early, and let's go on up to this place very close to where I was yesterday in Cascade, Colorado, right? Well, Cascade's got some trails everywhere. Colorado's got trails, I'm pretty sure. And I was super interested in doing the hike. And so I got up and I did my stuff and I did my work, got it out of the way, all that stuff. I did the good girl stuff, whatever. I got my checklist done. And so I start puttering along in my little Subaru. Me and Matilda, we're grooving, right? And I've packed my little backpack. I've got the little fanny pack. I'm all ready to go, And excuse me, there's going to be a balloon fest this weekend. This is a timeless message, but just context that Liftoff, it's called. And as I was driving, it's not starting today, it's starting tomorrow, but today, whenever I was on my way to Cascade, I saw probably 10 or 15 balloons that were just, lifting up and lofting above, practicing for tomorrow and Saturday and Sunday, or Monday too. Goodness gracious, I'm sorry. Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, it's a 3-day festival. So they were practicing and getting their hot air in there, mixing and matching all the ingredients to get them floating. And it was really cool. I just enjoyed it very much. And so I got over to where my mapping on my phone told me to turn, and I did. I obeyed just like it told me to do. I obeyed it, and it took me on a wild goose chase. And I gotta tell you, I was feeling super duper annoyed, triggered. I mean, some emotional stuff that I just don't really spend a whole lot of time dealing with anymore, not at that level. I mean, I was spitting out, I'm already cussing like a sailor on a regular day, but I was really putting some, that's got some real investment in letting you know how dissatisfied I am with this process, because I kept spinning back around, and it was spinning the block. Essentially, it was just, what part of the block would you like to spin before you come back to lost again? And I was getting pissed. I mean, over the top. And so I had to, just screech and say, look, I need a minute to containerize this, put this on the holodeck so I'm not spitting out horrible energy anywhere. But what the bleep is happening? Why am I getting led here? And we're talking switchbacks and, little roads that are slightly larger than my Subaru Forester, which is not, a giant high profile vehicle. And it's a clutch, or it's a standard. So I'm there, double clutching bad up and down and grinding, and probably not paying as much attention to my driving as I could have been and should have been, because I was busy being annoyed that, and it did not occur to me. Do you know how many times that I felt so dumb when I was done that I punched in the brand new research of, okay, my phone obviously didn't know I meant to go to Cascade. I meant to go to that place. So I redid it. And you know what it did? It said, cool, well, you're in a different place than you landed the last time because you missed a few turns. So we'll just take you to Lost, the same amount of Lost that you were, because the mapping service has no idea, apparently, where that park is that I wanted to be. And so it did not even register. That's how much it is that when we get separated from our frontal lobe, and our common sense or our uncommon sense, when we get disengaged from that or step away from it, all kinds of things get lost, and I just could not wrap my mind around. I kept trying the same dumb idea over and over and over again. And so then I'm just, finding myself not paying attention. I'm turning, randomly and starting to panic because I'm like, I'm on a mountain and okay, so Spirit stepped in and said, you're going to stop now. You're going to stop right freaking now because, boop, oh, a whole family of deer, 555 just passed Team Tower, position number 555. That's my jersey number, 555, indigo blue. Yep, tower for you and me. I'm a truth teller, and that brings towers for me too. Because the truth was, I needed to be talking to myself real hard, and when I wasn't, Divinity stepped in and said, excuse you. You are throwing a fit, and you gave yourself the room. We gave you the room and the latitude. However, Kate, you can't sit there. Or did you want to go experience what we really wanted you to experience today, or you want to get stuck doing it your way? And so these deer, 4 of them, all right, mom, dad, and the kids all came out, spotted little buggers too. I didn't know they would still be spotted at this point in the game, but whatever. They were there, and they were kind of wending their way out of the wood line, and they weren't digging necessarily seeing me, which kind of caught me by surprise. I'm like, don't you come through this neighborhood a lot? I know I'm a stranger, but don't you have human interaction a little more frequently? And they said, well, yes we do, and we're leery and wary of you. And they kind of eyeballed me. Mom went across, and the kids are, looking at me like, I'm not really sure about that, but they were slower. And Dad was dawdling back there, and he realized, oh yeah, we got some human interaction here. I guess we should go ahead and move it along. And so they sauntered across, but the kids, the little babies, they were, kind of weirding out and looking at me. So I'm trying not to make eye contact, and I'm videoing, of course. Have to capture the divinity every chance you get. That was another thing. Put the phone down and pay attention, share your experience verbally. And if you got, material you can share that's proof, great, but just say it. At a minimum, though, be in the moment. Eckhart Tolle, in the moment, experiencing it, because we're trying to talk to you. 7:44. And so I just watched, and I was like, what are they doing? And Mom and Dad both went right over to the fence and hopped right over it. And the kids are going, what do we do? And they were too afraid. The deer were too afraid to try. They didn't even attempt. And what's really sad is that they were there at chest level. The fence came at chest level. I'm pretty sure that if they had gone up on their hinds, they would have realized, I'll be fine. They were into a yard, though. Mom and Dad are in a fenced-in yard at that point, but the kids could have been in there with them. And rather than continue to push the envelope of trying to give them their space, I needed to get gone out of there, because it became more important for me that I was stressing out and going, oh no, I'm lost, and starting to panic. And I'm sure they could feel that, that agitation and that, non-clarity and the hysteria that was starting to get really triggered in me. And so I just I said, okay, please just, please get me out of here and stop scaring these deer. And please, I don't want to hit one or, any of it, because it was just starting to spin. I could feel myself getting a little wound, as you can tell. And that's not a good place to do anything except go right to holy hell in a second. If I lose my emotional lability and I get into, something that's less stable, that's not a good thing. It's going to spin out, a flat spin. They don't go well. It's hard to pull out of those. So I try to avoid them at all costs. So finally, I just motored on. And that was the thing, is that, sometimes you get into a situation that's not the greatest, and you got to push right through it and listen to divinity tell me how to do it. Because if I'd have just, pressed it forward angrily, that would have probably terrified them even more. And it was bad enough that I was sending out all this, and confusion, and then being kind of put off with, and judgy about it. So The best part though is say, well, okay, the priority became me. I needed to scoot, and divinity will have to help me, with trying to neutralize as best I can my interaction here and leave that as gracefully as possible, and know that the deer aren't going to be, permanently traumatized by, a 3-minute interaction trying to navigate out. However, I'm going to be all kinds of traumatized unnecessarily if I don't pull myself in and allow divinity to show me how to begin again with, oh, stop this, because I really was spinning hard. So I got down and made my way, and that's when I realized that, oh, I need to be asking, excuse me, guides, ancestors, whoever's here with me, divinity, all the realms of it, could you explain to me, I'm obviously missing something. If I'm fighting this hard, to get out of a wet paper bag and I'm punching with everything I have, I'm thinking that there's something I'm missing. And the piece of that little puzzle was, why, yes, that we need to be moving in a direction. Okay, you have the intention to move in the direction of, I want to go to that park and recreate that great memory from yesterday that I had, excuse me, at Florissant. That was fabulous. And I stopped at, Cascade and went, yeah, and drove through there and, scoped it out and peeped it and say, hey, I think I'll come back tomorrow. Well, that's fantastic. I had that idea, but divinity had a better idea for me. What? And so I said, okay, duh, the 1111, thank you. Then I'm missing something. Do you not want me to be here? And it's like, how can I be in alignment right now? How can I be in alignment with my divinement and pull this shit in before I lose my mind, friend? How can I do that? 1122. And I had seen a sign for Pikes Peak, the drive. Excuse me, the scenic drive. I had seen a sign for it, and I said, oh, okay. Poked that into the GPS and trusted that it was going to be a better read than, that little tiny park in Cascade. I was hoping that my mapping system would understand that, Pikes Peak, that's one of the biggies. I can trust that one a little bit more, that it's going to show up on my mapping, excuse me, app and get me there. It did, and during the few minutes that it took to get over there, pardon me, as I was driving, I was kind of giggling and laughing and saying, it's really funny that I'm looking at balloons, they're lifting off, and they're winds aloft, and going winds aloft on somebody else's breeze. That's not a good way to go, because I end up crashing my balloon, which is supposed to be a lot of fun, or my plane, or whatever it is. I keep crashing my life over and over again instead of enjoying the upliftment that can be had by, where do I need to surrender? Because if it's this bad, it's me that's doing it. I'm fighting myself, or I'm fighting divinity. I'm fighting a blockage in me. What the is it, and how fast can I move through it? Because I'm all about efficiency, baby. I don't want to have to sit down and have a cry session for 3 hours unless that's what I have to do. Then I don't want to do that. That's stupid. And so don't get me wrong, I cry. I have my moments and everything. I do. However, I'm all about the expedient route of getting things done, and spirit can show us how to do that very, very, very efficiently, because it's proven to me routinely by saying, okay, how do I do this? What's the quickest way that I can get to the meat of the problem? I want to get right there, the nugget, and let's fix the problem right now. And it's not a quick process always. And believe me, do not get hung up somewhere believing that I don't have bad days, or I don't cry, or I don't get angry. I was having a fit. I'm talking about super fit, worthy of a 2-year-old in Walmart in Ozark, Alabama. That's just, I was up there with, ratchet and white trash going nonsense in my car, because that was just where I was. And I was triggered there and was having a hard time navigating my way out. And so when I just said, okay, team, please tell me, what am I missing? It didn't just, there wasn't, the sky didn't open up and there was some magical moment of, I literally just was like, okay. And it started to wind down. And that's when, Pikes Peak, go do that. Oh. Well, okay then. Alrighty. I started driving over there, and this is going to be longer than 15. I can't try to break this up into 12 different videos, so hang with me if you want. It's a great story. It's an awesome story, and I'll try not to be so long-winded, but I'd get over there to Pikes Peak, right? Like, okay, cool, I'm on to school in the right way now, because I've learned my lesson. Then I'm over there being stupid. I figured it out. Yay, I'm on board with God and me and divinity, or all that magical woo-woo stuff, and yeah, cool, I'm good, I'm at the right school now. And so I start driving and get up to the ranger station, the first one down at the bottom, and say, so, to tell me about this? I've never been here. You know, what do I need to know? Well, here's your map. Have fun. Well, okay. I needed probably a little more understanding of what that was going to involve before I got all the way where I was going. However, I'm a grown-up lady. It wasn't that ranger's job to say, are you sure you know how to do this? Are you sure you know how to do this? It's not his job. It's me to ask the questions, get the answers. If I don't ask the right questions, though, I'm probably not going to get the right answers. Well, unfortunately, there wasn't really a way for me to navigate and say, so based on, you know, where I stand emotionally right now with what I'm dealing with in my past and all of that and all my triggers and PTSD and stuff like that, what do you think? Is this a good trip for me? Do you think I can make it? It really wasn't his job to do that, but I probably could have done myself a little bit more of a favor by being more aware of exactly how intense the experience was going to be for me and the potential for what it could do to really hinder me. That's where I really needed to understand better. And yet I trust spirit that was very ordered. And yes, it was scary. There was a very scary event involved in this, but you see me, I'm alive and I didn't die. So here I am. Excuse me, that spirit knew, we're going to let you get up there. And because I was praying and listening and, you know, really working it and then starting to get nervous and praying even harder then, you know, listening even harder, that Spirit knew that's going to be really scary for you and we're going to be able to help you through. And the reason I knew that is because this morning I was listening to someone that I usually listen to her every day. I listen to at least one of her readings every day. She's a tarot reader and she's just amazing. Empress Bella, please accept my shine. You know, I want to meet you. But anyway, she's one that I listen to because she's very tapped into the collective that I'm tapped into, and that, you know, there's a lot of reference, and it just helps me kind of have a little bit of a read where I'm blocked. She's able to see a little bit beyond that frequently, often. You know, she's just right on target. And it's not that she's giving me answers to the test or anything. It's not like that. Divinity wants us to win. God, spirit, however you're identifying your spiritual core and what runs all of that, that wants us to succeed. Mother Nature does not set itself up to fail. You know, the egg is a perfect system of creating a new chicken or a new person or a new whatever. It's a flawless system in theory. You know, we've ganked it up, but it already knows how to do that. It already knows how to succeed. It knows what the algorithm is for life and propagating new life. It's a matter that humans like to, you know, get a little bit janky with our, you know, egos and what we think is right and wrong. And I shouldn't have to do this. And why is this thing sending me to the wrong place? We get involved with that. Mother Nature's impersonal in that respect, that Mother Nature's just a loving frequency. If you bump up against her weirdly, then that's you, not her. You know, and if you're standing around in a hurricane experiencing it badly, it's going to seem like Mother Nature is taking it personally and you're being punished. And I was having kind of one of those little, I feel victimized. Why is this happening to me? And I don't like to go there because I lived a lot of years, rode that one hard, and people hated that, and so did I. But I know I get out of it. So anyhow, God's good. So I start riding, right? I start driving up and I stop and take, you know, pictures and kind of get a feel for it. And I really was feeling the bigness and the power of these mountains is unbelievable. I mean, unbelievable. And it's way, way, way up there. I mean, we're talking thousands of feet. Where I live in Colorado Springs is like 4,000. And by the time I had gotten my way up to the last little outpost, unmanned checkpoint kind of thing, the ranger station, by the time I had wended my way up there, we were at 11,000 feet or something ridiculous, 14,000. I mean, after the comma of double digits, I kind of lost my mind, but I was already there a little bit, and I just didn't understand that, oh, we're going to need to go ahead and do this because this is part of the plan, if you will, that you're going to have this great experience and it's going to change your life. And you guys are probably thinking, God, did she ever get to the point? Yeah, sorry. So I passed the unmanned station, right? And it just says proceed. I'm like, okay. So I pulled off, made a different video, an appreciation video. Thank you very much to that person. Thank you. And then I pulled over again and just kind of sat there and said, okay, yep, I'm ready to do it. And I drove up Okay, it was frightening. It was frightening because what is it with putting roads on mountainsides where we just don't believe in guardrails all over the place? What is that? Did we run out of guardrail budget? What the? But anyway, there's no guardrail. Well, I want to be hugging mountain on both sides, thank you, but I think that's just not going to happen, right? So I'm kind of looking and I'm seeing the scene unfold as I'm going up that, okay, I'm feeling some discomfort. Not huge, some discomfort with this that I can predict very well that I'm gonna have to come back down this way. This is just a one way up and down, you know, and it's this road unless you're going some other way, and I don't want to make the news, you know, what? And so I'm kind of seeing that, and I started feeling that little drop in of, okay, and so I start praying and say, okay, what does this mean to me, and what am I doing with this information, please? And just, this is where we're stretching a bit. Kate, we're gonna stretch. And I said, okay, I'm gonna stretch. We're gonna stretch my ability to do this by myself and not feel like I do it, you know, and marry that up with, you have to have the actual skill. Sometimes you actually have to have the skill. You can't just make shit up. Just because I'm covered with divinity and all that and angels ride with me doesn't mean I'm suddenly gonna be Mario Andretti just cause. That's not realistic, and I haven't seen that work yet, you know, because when I'm going to be manifesting that kind of a miracle, that level of miracle, I want to be doing something besides, you know, skilling up in an area where that's not really where the best skilling up could have happened. It happened after I had the panic attack. I mean, major one too, and was able to drive on my own well enough. But here's what happened. Oh, dude, I realized I stopped. I don't know, maybe a mile or two. It's hard to say when you're creeping up the side of a mountain, but it came to a little bit of a plateau, and there's a beautiful, beautiful area that I just knew I need to go hiking up in there a little bit. Had some water and just beautiful, and there was nobody there, so I knew, oh, okay, so I pull over and start hiking up in there. Made some video for other projects I'm working on, and you know, just started talking to spirit, like, okay, I feel some just kind of strange energy that I'm not really used to. You know, I'm pretty in touch with what's mine, and I'm pretty sure that this is opening up somewhere divine that I'm not familiar with. Is this me? What is this? Because it's unfamiliar to me. And the message was just hang and bang, baby, and relax, you know, just take it in and take that moment. And don't assess it at all. There's no need to assess it at all. Perhaps you're just here and a weird wave of whatever is going to pass by. It could sit and ride for an hour, or it could just pass by. Well, it did pass by. And I got back in my car, and I started realizing not too far after that, oh, and this is where you need to pay attention, Kate, that this one's settling in. And now we're going to work out, friend, how we work our emergency. And you get your ass up this mountain without making the news, you know? Oh, I was really starting to get quite nervous, and I couldn't see a pull-off anywhere. There wasn't one. It's hard to pull off on the side of a mountain when you're at like 14,000 feet. What? Yeah, there isn't any place to pull over, and I'm starting to feel that. I can't go there right now. Don't do that. I really started to wig out. I'm talking like flashback type stuff. I'm not real fond of heights. Not at all. And I have driven in Shenandoah. I pulled our camper once, and that created all kinds of monstrosity that I wish I hadn't done it. I was trying so hard to be, you know, participating, and I was running at a level of skill that I didn't have. However, I do have to say my ex-husband, he made sure that it was as safe as it possibly could be because it was on the way up, you know, and there wasn't any exposed area that I would be inadvertently not turning right always unless I'd lost my mind. And he was very kind about that. And so I did have that skill. It was that, oh yeah, when you come down the hill, you're going to need backup, lots of it. And so I was really, just, and starting to twitch and have a seizure. I don't manage seizures any other way except with medical marijuana when I need it. And that's been 3 weeks since I needed it the last time. And I don't take any more anti-seizure medication. I've been able to move out of that, you know, to decrease the level of stress and that kind of thing. So I was really like, oh my God, no, you know, and starting to go into the, what's the worst case scenario, you know? And the real beautiful thing is Spirit dropped in and said, okay, the worst case scenario is you're going to have a seizure and go off the side. Okay, that's the worst. Yeah, that's the worst. Get jiggy with that. and then realized that, nah, I don't want to do that. I wanted to do other things besides go up in a fiery flame, ball that's going to make the news, for about 30 seconds. And then, yeah, I really wanted to be here longer, transform my energy later on, not today. About 50 years from now, I'll be okay, but not today. And so that was the first thing is no, I don't want to do that. And then the other was, well, okay, you need to pull over. You need to get okay with that. You're going to be crossing over and pulling over and hugging the mountain and facing oncoming traffic, which wasn't coming. Not many people go past that checkpoint. Now I understand why. You have to know what you're doing and be very confident in that. And I wasn't either. I was confident enough based on what I understood the needs of that, experience to be. And I was listening. However, I'm telling you, divinity said, we're going to carry you up far enough to scare the pants right off of you. Not as a mean thing. I was willing. I had asked before I left, I got to move through some stuff. I need to blast this off of me and get it gone. Mercury retrograde has already kind of shown up with some stuff. I want this transmuted and move it on. We all need to be free of it. Let's do it. And so I knew that very strange superposition in quantum physics that part of me knew that this is carefully managed, Kate. This is highly managed, but you cannot fight this process. You are fighting this process by getting involved in the hysteria. The hysteria will take you right off the mountain. We already decided we weren't doing that. Then listen carefully and go paramedic immediately. And I did, because I'm telling you, I was terrified, absolutely terrified. I haven't been that level of terrified, I don't think, ever in my life. Ever. My 5D, I have boogie monsters showing up that they don't scare me like that. But my 3D, I didn't. And so we're going to have to balance that where you understand and appreciate the fear factor and what that creates for other people. You're going to find compassion for that major over-the-top anxiety attack, panic attack that just takes people to otherworldly places. And even in my worst panic attack ever prior to today, it never felt that way. So I never quite fully understood how it was when somebody'd say, I black out, I can't think, oh, I got it. And it's not punishment. It's a matter of that gave me a crucial nugget of information to be able to be helpful for other people, to know that, fear does take us to places where we cannot think straight, and we can end up in some really bad situations where we're going to need help from someone. And if they're real jerky and mean about it, that just adds to the whole experience. And if we didn't want to die, or we didn't die, we might want to, just because, I've got PTSD, I'm traumatized, and you're going to badger me about what a dumbass I was that I put myself in that position, all of it. And I didn't have time, because it was quickly going down the line, like you're pull it in right now, and like in my car I just started moving it over and went, okay, and deep breathe as best as I could. And all this deep breathing practice that I do all the time, and I'm pretty spiritual, and I was losing it fast. And I prayed. I said, okay, I don't know how this is going to work, but obviously I'm hugging the mountain. I said, what do I do? And the algorithm started working, like, okay, we got a protocol. Let's go paramedic. What can you do? We're not going outside. We decided that one's the terminal event. We don't want to do that. Then what can I do? Okay, airway breathing, circulation, airway, take a breath, get real in touch with breathing into, hey, God, divinity, angels, can you help me see what it is I need to see? And what happened was, I prayed and I said, please give me the answer. I feel myself leaving the building, and I'm pretty sure that if I do, someone will eventually come by if I'm slumped over in my car, but that's going to involve rescue at a level that I don't play that. When I worked as a paramedic, I saw all that and I thought, person, who isn't that? I'm just now getting that little whiff of how many times I was kind of, I'll be honest, looking at something going, that was so stupid. I can't believe you did that. And that was what was running through my head was, you may need to get EMS in here, and before you lose consciousness, you may need to call 911, you may need to call the park ranger. And so that was what, was running through my head. Spirit said, we've got this. You just have to listen to us and not get involved in that human thing where you're going to lose your mind, because you might as well go ahead and give up and go right straight to divine immediately and go in a fireball. And, I don't want to do that. Cool. Then listen. And said, okay, then if I have to, I'm going to give it a couple more minutes. And then if I can't, then I'll call. And I just did it. I cried and said, please get me help here immediately. now. Whatever it is, whatever it looks like, I'm willing to do it. Please just bring me to it. And within 30 to 60 seconds, the cavalry showed up. I'm telling you, Tim and Jim showed up. I never once in my life met a Jim that was not just the nicest person. The first boyfriend I ever had was named Jim, and he was a real sweetheart. So Jims have always been very, comforting people. They just have. They've always been very comforting people to me. Well, I was there, just going, okay. And Tim, their brothers, they have a business where they run people up to the top of the Pikes Peak and drop them on their bikes. Here's your bike and y'all have fun. We'll see you later. Which blows my mind. Props to y'all. He came over, and I'm telling this dude was amazing. He said, hey, how you doing? Everything came in. And he introduced himself. What's your name? He said, I'm not going to hurt you. I'm going to help you. We'll take care of you. You're safe. He was saying all the things, 30, thank you. He was saying all of those things that a person, at least me anyway, when I'm in that state, that's what I want to hear, is that you see me. You've identified me specifically, me. You mean me, right? Yeah, me. And you've told me who you are. We've set up some rapport. You've told me I can trust you. I mean, this guy could be lying his ass off for all I know. However, my soul told me, that's the answer to your question. So it's not like I just take random people just coming up out of nowhere. However, do you want to talk about the odds and the synchronicity of, statistically speaking, do you want to question the God thing anymore, or spirit, or synchronicity, or 5D, or ascension, or whatever all the spirituality weird stuff is? Do you want to question that some more? Generally, I don't. However, I'm telling you, every time it levels up and goes, that was very freaky. Okay. It opens up new doors of understanding, and I'm really open to knowing that divinity can come in anywhere, in any way. It's a matter of what's going to be the most efficient way for me to get that message that I can actually hear, that I'm not alone and I have nothing to fear. How can I do that and get that message as quickly as possible? Because if I'm going to get detoured somewhere, I might end up over there, and I didn't want to. And so I knew whenever he was talking that my body was still, doing all kinds of weird stuff and crying and but my mind, as weird a juxtaposition as that is, that superposition in quantum science, that superposition, the quantum entanglement was that I got the answer here. He is the answer. He's the savior. It's right at this moment. This dude's the hero of the year for you. So pay attention, listen, and allow him to help you. Okay. And I wasn't going to fight him. I mean, it wasn't that. It was just, those were the reassuring words. He's saying, you can trust me. I won't hurt you. I see that you're scared. And how about, we do this. I will be happy to drive you down the mountain. And those were the exact words, because in my little, going through my algorithm, my protocol, what's one of them that I can do is, hope that somebody pulls over and that they're willing. But that seems so outlandish and so far off to even hope for. But it did come up as an idea of, it is possible someone could come, and actually help me do this, because it wasn't happening. That was clear to me that there's no way. I won't even engage that. I won't try, because that's ridiculous for me to, go ahead and know that I'm terrified and I'm going to try to do a U-turn or go further up to come back down. I mean, no, it wasn't happening. And the idea of getting out of my car and, scaling the Shaylin, that wasn't happening either, more than likely. But it did cross my mind, and I didn't even have to think about that one long before Tim, my savior, came with Jim. Jim went on up and finished taking the bikers up. And by the time Tim drove me down, I, crawled over into the right shotgun, and we made it down to a little corner store down, at the bottom. Excuse me. We had talked, I had relaxed, and he joined us, and I said, you have no idea. And what are the chances that you will meet someone who's heard of starseeds or light workers, or that are willing to think about otherworldly things, or that really have some, progressive thought that probably if they uttered, you know, to the generic crowd, I'm used to it. People look at me like I'm weird all the time, and it's okay. You know, like I've been weird my whole life. I'm used to it, kind of. I just don't like to be, you know, made fun of. I don't think anybody does, but, you know, I can deal with that too. But so I'm kind of bold, you know, and I forget sometimes that not everybody's really willing to hear that. And so, you know, I'm getting better about being careful not to share too much with people that's going to wig them out, because I don't want to make them uncomfortable. I'm not uncomfortable, but if it makes you uncomfortable, then I've just ruined whatever experience we could have, possibly, especially if I need some immediate help off the mountain. That's probably not the time to be weirding out the driver, you know? But I was just really felt so safe, and I heard myself saying it was quite, you know, almost odd that I hugged him. I mean, I got out and I hugged him after we got down, you know, to 11,000 feet again. And I said, oh my God, I said, if I don't have a brother, but if I had one, I would want him to be just like you. Just like you, would want to know. I said, this is the safest I have felt in years. This safe that someone said, I see what the problem is. I see you. And I see that you yourself, what your problem is, and I myself know how to help you with this, and I'm willing to help you without a price, and I'm willing to reassure you and keep you safe and keep my promise that I'm not going to do anything weird or, you know, not keep you safe. He did everything he said he would, and it was amazing. So here was this experience that was traumatic. I mean, my body was twitching weird, and then by the time we, you know, got it all kind of settled out and everything, I felt very strange still, but I didn't go into a full seizure. There wasn't a mountainside rescue involved. You know, we didn't need helos to be launched so that some lady could be, you know, peeled off the side of a mountain, you know. I'm like, oh my God. And as we're driving down the mountain, I was thinking to myself, yeah, every person that ever said I was crazy as hell and need to be put away, you know, all that stuff, they're gonna love this when this hits the news. They're gonna have a heyday with that and go, see, we told you she's nuts. And it wasn't really my ego at that point. It wasn't my ego. I hadn't even thought about that. But that was part of the giggle that we were having is, oh my goodness, yeah, can you imagine? That would have solidified, yep, freak, nut. See, we were right. And so the beauty of it is that I was trying to take myself to a place yesterday where I had already been, you know, and Spirit said, yeah, I know you planned, you know, a kind of sort of different trip, but we really want you to go here instead, especially because you asked. As your intention going out this morning, you asked for what's the best and most high vibrational activity, thing, thought, whatever that I can do right now to get me into alignment with my divinement immediately, because I was feeling a little froggy anyway. So anyhow, that didn't happen. Like, you don't go that direction, let's go this direction instead. And then be very, very much pumping into my head as I was going up that we're in control of this. Spirit did not tell me we're in control of this because it's going to get weird in a minute. Hang on. I didn't get that. I got we're in control. We got this. We're running the show. We've got the scene, Kate. You can let go. You drive. That's what you have to do. Surrendering doesn't mean you lose your mind and go, I surrender, and hope for the best. No, no, no. That's not the surrender thing. That's not where you surrender or how. You surrender to keep your hands on that wheel, keep peeled, and keep right here doing your job, staying centered, balanced, so that you can receive Tim and Jim saving you, literally saving me from so much more dramatic extrication from a situation that I did to myself. And if that man had walked up on me and said, well, what the hell did you think was going to happen? As a former paramedic, man, I've seen people do it. Not other medics. I've seen people be cruel. Like, okay, sorry, I'm not going to go there. You see people hurting, that's not the time to go, well, you know, well, you did it to yourself. I did. And I'm okay with knowing Spirit gave me the go-ahead of you just keep going, and we'll let you know how this is going to go. And that was so transformational that what are the odds that I would meet not just one person, two that are way into that line of thinking, and they were so kind. And so when we made it all the way down all the way down, I said, please allow me to take you to lunch and, you know, honor the fact that you listened to the call of divinity, whatever you call that. I really don't care. You listened, you heard the whoopee go off and you answered the call, you know, draft notice was put out and you said, okay, here I am, you know, or you volleyed before it ever happened. So it doesn't matter. They showed up wearing their hero suits, their cape and their tights, and they weren't, you know, weird about it, and they weren't, you know, overly like just bizarre or anything. It was amazing. And because of that, that repatterned for me energetically how I can get into alignment better with divinement and receive, now coding in me how I can respond better in the future when I feel that I might be approaching that level of you know. And it also gave me the very real and visceral understanding that when you see that, those eyeballs that are going, oh my God, you have a fresh understanding and a very keen, up close and personal understanding. I'm empathetic as hell and an empath, and I'm very compassionate. However, I have never, not once have I ever known that level of sheer freaking terror that's right here. If I hooked into that for half a second, I would be kicking chicken in a second because it was terrifying. So if people want to make fun and say this stuff is, you know, it's just bullshit, it's whatever, or I'm not real because I said bullshit, whatever, the frequency doesn't care. Does not care. I'm not in my world. The frequency does not care about my language. It cares about my ability to transmute terrible stuff and make that into some better energy and receive the information about how to do that from the sources that know how to do that already. The Ascended Masters that guide this planet, or guide us if we allow them, the Ascended Masters, the energy and the higher frequency that's running this whole show, if we let it and we let go, they know already how to do this and how to interact with mountain energy, how to interact with tree energy or whatever. Sounds bizarre? I don't care anymore. And one of the last things that I remember we talked about, because we did do lunch, Tim and Jim, thank you so much, that was just amazing. We did do lunch, and one of the last things excuse me, that I remember saying to them was I don't remember. How funny is that? I just lost my train of thought entirely. I was going to invalidate the whole thing because now people on my channel are going to think I'm totally crazy and I don't know what I'm talking about, whatever. Okay, we're going to let that go and just say I don't remember what I was going to say. It doesn't matter. I just know that that repatterned for me a new way of thinking and a new way of receiving information from men that in the past, being the damsel in distress is a bad place to be. At least for me, I wouldn't advise it that anybody act in a victim mentality. It's hard when we don't realize that's what we're doing. But my victim mentality, I realized, this isn't victim mentality. This is a woman that I created. I created this situation. And I'm willing to own and claim that I went past what I could navigate safely on my own, and I need some help. And I can also say thank you very much to the non-ego that showed up in those men. I've had men that weren't quite so willing to be, as gentle. And that's not implicating anybody in particular. Those were people that, were transitory and just really unkind people for the most part. But, men and me, we've had some history that was difficult, in childhood and stuff. And so brought up the potential triggers of, are you going to allow these men to help you and believe that you're not a damsel in distress? Don't play that card. I mean, you don't have to go there. There's no reason. You say, yeah, I got some place that I really just need some help. Can you help me? And I'll keep my cool and not, lose it and make myself unable to handle their help or be, completely screaming and screeching and making it really difficult on the way down the hill. I'm going to go with the flow. And how can I do that? And it really reseeded and repatterned, and it changes how I respond in the future from now on, because when we shut down those timelines and we bring those reality tunnels to close and we reach true closure on them, it changes how we will respond in the future. It may not necessarily fix it. It's going to continue to evolve and get better and better and better the more that I can listen. The closer I am to hearing the message, the faster I am to hearing the message, the faster I'm going to be able to fix the problem. If I'm densed out in my fear and it's not coming to my ear directly, it might be a minute or two, and we don't always have an extra minute or two, especially right now. We're grinding hard. The world's in a real, tilt-a-world kind of experience. And I don't remember if this is what I was going to say before, but I do remember that 44, thank you, that Tim told me that the top of the mountain, the Ute Native American tribes, the Ute, the indigenous, sorry, they understood that the peak of the mountain, Pikes Peak, that they considered that to be a very honored position where basically God came through. And I don't know if it was that elders only were the ones that went up there or something, I don't know. Or if they just all avoided the top of the mountain. I'm not sure exactly. I didn't ask, that deep into it, but they considered that that was a very godly place and that was a very sacred place, and not just some common old, slob could go up in there. There had to be rank and file. Understand that, rank goes up there, rank and file does not. The general goes up there, but you don't. You stay down there. And I realized on my way home that, I didn't have clearance to be that far up. That much energy coming into me, that was going to tweak me out, and it just couldn't. I mean, my neurological system couldn't handle that, and I didn't need to be there. Up there, that was not where I needed to be. Oh no, that's not you, Kate, not you. Not stanking on anybody else that goes up there. That's their experience and what their team's leading them to do, or whatever. I mean, I don't know who's leading what. I just know that what's leading me, that's the one that was clearly saying to me, that wasn't yours to do. You cannot go up there. You're going to sideline and be right over there and get your lesson further down that peak than where you thought you were headed. So anyway, let me just look at my notes real quick and see. Because I wrote a whole bunch and I don't really want to, I don't want to talk anymore. It's been 45 minutes, but it's amazing to me that these can go on so long. It was just it was a real profound experience, and I really want to say thank you very much to Tim and Jim and their amazing ability to not shame me or act weird or go, like, what a stupid woman or anything like that. We exchanged phone numbers, and they live in Colorado Springs. So, and I want to give them a shout out because they both have YouTube channels. The first one is Clockwork Calibrations. That's Jim, the one who is driving the van, and his brother Tim was the one that drove my car. But I'm not exactly sure what he does, honestly, but I'm going to give him a shout out because I'm sure that based on what I already met, that's your other, I'm sure it's good. So if it's not terrible, or if it's terrible and it's just, horrible, you can say something about it later. But I highly doubt that it is. And then the other one is PaperStreet Shuttle Company, and that's Tim, who he and his brother run people up to the top of the mountain with all the bikes, and then they let them out and let them ride down all 18,000 feet of it, I guess, or however many feet it is. But they do that run 3-4 times a day. That's what they do. And for me, that was going to take 3 or 4, not at all. It was going to take 3 or 4 minutes before I passed out and succumbed to elevation probably, and just completely be a nightmare of, this is going on Dateline. Everybody that ever said, Kate, aren't you going to be glad that you wake up and find out that, you made the news, man, and not in the way you want to know about. You probably should have just gone back to sleep. So it was amazing. Anyway, I'm going to stop now and just say thank you very much. Please, whatever part of the day you're in, please enjoy it, friend, and get within, because you're divine. It really is totally, totally, totally fine. And when we get really, really good about listening to that and distinguishing between what that is and the other bullshit, get very clear about what we hear, then we can absolutely get the direct pipeline to, I need some help right now. And I'm going to think that a panic attack that lasts less than 5 minutes and has the conclusion within about 45 seconds of saying, okay, I need it right now. I don't get what I want all the time. Please don't misunderstand that. That was a lesson that I was very clear, because I stay pretty tapped in, that I knew something was going to happen today. Something big is happening, Kate, is happening. Just be willing. And don't wait, go 88, and be willing to adapt and change. And when you're taking a spin around the mountain a few times, and you're lost as hello, hello, you want to go and let's check out something else. And I had no idea it was going to get scarier. I had no idea what, but I'm glad it did, because now I know I can navigate the panic attack. I did it at least once. That means that I can reproduce that. That's a science thing. So I can reproduce it, and I know that I was taken care of and I wouldn't make those same choices more than likely unless I knew specifically. I'm not blindly making choices like that put me in those positions. Okay, and that there are other people in that synchronicity flow. That is where we're all trying to go. Honestly, it really is, because that's the flow of collaboration and understanding that other people are struggling hard wherever they're struggling. Those people have no idea what my struggles are. They have no idea what I was dealing with, and I have no idea what they're dealing with. However, when I'm the one that's, really feeling vulnerable, and really was vulnerable. I mean, I was open to, okay, fine, I don't care. He said, I won't hurt you. I'm like, at this point, dude, in my mind, I'm thinking, I don't care if you break my arm off, just take my mind off of this, because it's really, I can't, I mean, it was a weird, weird position. So thank you again to those men who showed me what it was to be helped by men that were acting as brothers. I mean, I never had a brother, and now I do for at least an hour and a half or so. I know, and I hope I see them again. I really do. I hope I see them and get to know them, because those are people them's my people, that they understand that, and that they already know, and that they mentioned star seeds. I mentioned it in the car with Tim, and then Jim mentioned it at the table about 45 minutes later, and we all went, or at least Tim and I went, he goes, didn't we just, yes, it's that weird. And this is the new norm. This is the new norm that we're going to with that 5D ascension. The higher consciousness is we're upgrading, and we're becoming more aware of our intuitive skills and our clairvoyant skills, perhaps things that people put into woo-woo weird land. Like, it's been around, and I will say this too, my God, this is gonna be forever. Jim brought up something. He said, people don't believe stuff, they don't believe in spirits and stuff, but we talk to one another, and we're hearing, and we believe, and we're seeing, and we're using things in a way that we don't see how we're seeing. We just do it, and we hear and perceive. Why is it that spirit couldn't happen, that ghosts and what have you? And like, yep, these are my people, because you're absolutely right. Why wouldn't we go there? That's a prejudice of the human mind that can't embrace something that has been kind of stomped out. We've been told it's magic, it's weird, it's bad, it's whatever. And if I associate the word bad with magic, I'm going to consider that all magic is bad. If I associate bad with, that color person, then all those people are bad. If I associate bad with a woman, who's too stupid to figure out how to drive up a mountain, then I'm going to act like an asshole whenever I come up to rescue her. I mean, it goes in any direction you wanna. So thank you very much for your time. If you've made it this far, what a warrior. Thank you. I appreciate your time, and may you find your divine and have a beautiful, beautiful experience no matter what part of the day you're in, friend. And remember, give it in, because your divine really is fine. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you again next time. Bye-bye, friend.